So this is we're right on the nerve of the problem here, right? So this is paragraph is that paragraph 240, right? Paragraph 240 in the 2013 to 14 Committee on Privilege report, right? We agree that the clerk of the House the question of whether members' performance for their constituency-related duties is part of the work of Parliament is difficult. It has become increasingly difficult as the proportion of time spent by MPs on constituency-related work has grown. Well, that's probably because they're never in the House of Commons to do debates, right? But the principle is well established unless a member's constituency-related work is carried out on the floor of the House in one of its committees or through the tabling of motions, question or amendment, is not a proceeding in Parliament and is not therefore protected by privilege, right? And we'll get to that in a minute, right? But based on what? Such was the conclusion of the Joint Committee of 1999. Well, I hope it were better than this committee that's writing this paper book, because it's full of tosh, right? Which was itself founded on previous findings of the House of Committees of the House and of the courts. Well, findings, they didn't look very well. They didn't find much, did they? These are our findings. We didn't find anything because, or we purposely didn't want to find it, right? How about if they'd have found it, then it would have. The question that remains is whether the principle that is founded on a set of circumstances was far removed from those that now apply and which were codified in a statute more than 4 centuries ago, remains entirely fit for purpose. That is a question that goes far beyond the scope of this report. Well, it's not going beyond the scope of this report. Is that his constituency work covered with the proceedings of Parliament? That's what the scope is. The scope is parliamentary privilege, and the scope is the constituency-related work of an MP privileged? Well, how are they going to meet with the constituents, right? And I mean, so hold on. So this is my copy of STRODE's Act, right? And I've printed this out on some old-fashioned paper, right? Ironically, I bought the actual statute book on eBay. It was quite an old version of it, and it was falling to pieces. And I'm like, I want that statute book just for this STRODE's Act, this STRODE's law, right? And I think it's 1512 or 1513, right? 1512 or 1513, 1512, right? And I bought it from someone. I think he was in, could have been in Durham or somewhere like that, or it might have even been Bedale or somewhere like that, North Yorkshire. It was somewhere up Bedale or Richmond or Durham or somewhere like that, right? And it was falling to bits. Like, the book was a very old book and it was falling to pieces, and I'm like, but it was going very, very cheap, right? And I'm like, oh, I'll buy that. I want the actual original. Well, I want like the proper statute book, one of the old ones, right? And I want to keep that page out of it, of the STRODE's law, like the original like printing of it. I'll just chuck the rest of it away. And when it arrived in the post, there was no book inside it. I got an empty package. It had vanished and disappeared, right? Now, but yet this is very important. But luckily I've found it on the internet, right? And I've got it here. But Parliament don't deny this exists. They've got like history pages on STRODE, right? It's not like Parliament, like, kind of like deny it exists. Usually when Parliament want to do this, what they do is they make loads of hype. If they want to hide something or they don't want you to know about it, they usually like put neon signs pointing at it, and put it like, you know, literally like Hollywood on the cliff top so everyone can see it, yet lie about it, or when they've got a strange strategy for it. But anyway, right, it says that this is one of the first times that privileges was actually acknowledged in codified law, right? And the way this is written, they're not just writing it for Strode, they're writing it for Strode and everyone from here and onwards, right? All suits, condemnments, executions, charges, impositions, right? All condemnments, execution, charges, and impositions put, or hereafter to be put, upon Strode, right, who was a member of Parliament, and every of his accomplices that be of this Parliament. It says be of the Parliament, right? And we could get that word out in a dictionary in Samuel Johnson. What does of? Be of this Parliament. Because you see, the old writs of privilege used to say any member of Parliament, their servants or followers, right? That could be constituents they're meeting or people who are even voting for them, right? In an election. Remember that elections run on the law of parliamentary agency as well, right? Which is something I'm arguing with them at the moment, because otherwise, all the Representation of the People Act is based on it, right? It codifies more law into it, just like the election petition rules, really. That's why we've got, you know, legal police canvassing and things like that, right? Right, and Strode, right, that be of this Parliament or any other hereafter. So what it's saying is that be of this Parliament, and anyone that be of the Parliament, right? Anyone of the Parliament here or hereafter. So this is actually making parliamentary privilege, right? For everyone in Parliament hereafter, right? For any bill, right? So that is for putting through any bill. That's all the processes for the bill, right? Anything that you need to do for the bill, right? Speaking, so that's so this is giving you free speech, right? No executions, charges, or impositions for speech. Talking, right? Or reasoning. So that's like even debating or thinking about it, right? Of anything, right? That's a thing. And another, you want to think about King Charles's oath of the Privy Council. You know, if anything does, you know, apparently insult the king, then it should be brought to his attention. So that covers absolutely anything, right? Or anything, it says, concerning the Parliament. So that's even like a notepad, right? That's like, you know, the Stampit notepads that have got the Parliament crest on them, right? To be continued and treated of shall be void, right? So anything concerning Parliament. So when you go to the constituency to meet your MP about him doing something in Parliament, if that ain't concerning Parliament, I don't know what is, right? I'm in my local MP's office. Why are you here? Well, maybe I'd like you to present a petition for me, or maybe make a representation about, I don't know, Hillsborough or something. Oh, no problem. If that ain't concerning Parliament, I don't know what is, right? So I've kind of had it with these committee reports, and it don't matter whether it's 1999 or wherever. We're being conned, and the clerks of Parliament are actually it's almost kind of like if you go into a court and the clerk of the Parliament would start being the legal advisor and then started being the prosecutor, right? And then might even go sit with the jury.